I want to try to wrap this racism series up because I'm talking about racism so much that I'm going crazy. Why do black people think the slogan, "Make America Great Again," is racist? Well, that's because there are actual racists associated with Donald Trump's campaign. The campaign slogan was, "Make America Great Again." Quick history lesson, since I was actually there. You see, back in the 1980s, Reagan said, "Let's make America great again," too. And ironically, during his time in office, crack came to black neighborhoods. Let's put a smiley face right there. Reagan was also, coincidentally, a really polarizing figure. People absolutely hated Reaganomics. But again, you had to be there. Anyway, in this era, when Trump used the MAGA slogan, it brought out neo-Nazis in droves. Something that Trump has never really distanced himself from, even when people died in a racially charged protest. Remember that day? Like it or not, that slogan brought out a hateful, and here's that word again, racist portion of America who are very prominent. But don't blame that on the media. I told you earlier, the media only waits for you to do shit. No, there were many pictures from Trump rallies taken by regular people, not the media. Here's pictures of Nazi salutes at Trump rallies. You know, I didn't see this kind of thing in rallies of the past. Many of these neo-Nazi and racist folks who were outside doing Hail Hitler salutes during Trump speeches are entrenched in businesses around America. You think for 1 second that they're cool with a black person or any person of color getting a job at their company? Still think racism doesn't exist? What about the tiki torch white guys here? A lot of regular looking guys out there that night, chilling. Guys who work at different places and times across America, which means that their racism is spread across the United States at different places and times. Isn't it cool that as a racist, you can hide the fact that you're a racist, but the person of color that you hate can't hide their color? See what I said earlier about the game being unfair? How the deck is stacked against the competitor of color? Black people who support the slogan, "Make America Great Again," are found to be particularly interesting because of the Nazi and racist ties associated with Trump and the MAGA slogan. Most black folks call black Trump supporters fools and even coons. Not me though. I'm not that hard on black conservatives who support Trump. I've simply seen this political shit play out too many times to be impressed. Truth is, we all gotta learn. We all gotta go our own way. In all honesty, you can be a black Republican and not be a supporter of the president. But again, if you're a Trump supporter and you're black, then you also accept that there is Nazism associated with your party. There are white supremacist ties. His campaign received money from those groups. You know, now that I think about it, you can definitely blame Obama for making these white supremacist dicks so hard. But again, they didn't show their faces during Obama's actual term in office. Let's just keep stressing that point. Bitches do bitch shit. And yes, speaking of Obama, I do know the Democrats have a history with black slavery and keeping blacks back. But the thing is, that was then. This Trump shit is now. This is when people want to say, "Stop living in the past." And I say, no problem. Democrats still ain't shit. They pander to blacks all the time, but don't really do shit for us. Here's the thing though. If you're a black Trump supporter, don't be surprised if the same happens to you. Because the facts are, it's not just called politics, it's called the game of politics. Also, an FYI, if you're black and a Trump supporter and your friends are white, be sure to watch your mouth. Watch when you say the word nigger. Because the facts are, in your ranks, your political base, there are quite a few people who are looking at the color of your skin and see you as just another nigger that they would rather see on the other side of that wall that y'all keep going on about. Or maybe they like to see your black ass dead. Don't forget, these folks are white supremacists. But since you're a fellow Trump supporter, they will smile in your face. Yes, indeed, they will. See, again, bitches do bitch shit. Remember, as a black person, light skin or dark skin black, sooner or later, if you forget what you look like, you get reminded of what you look like by those who are racist in America. Speaking of white supremacists, all of these hate crimes, as soon as you get your president in office, I mean, is that how y'all celebrate? Going around and attacking other ethnicities? Before Trump, I didn't see a surge in black people fucking up random white folks. Obama's "Yes I Can" slogan didn't make the Black Panther Party suddenly materialize and start whipping white ass. Just stating facts. But in all honesty, I can understand white pride because I have black pride. And even though it should just be human pride, it's actions like hate crimes by white supremacists that let me know exactly why the Black Power movement existed in the first place. How you treat human beings says a lot about a person. And depending on the times, an entire society. Building a wall. Keep laughing at those immigrants who are separated from their children. It shows how fucked up you are. Because if it was your kid, you would want to lose your mind. A lot of Americans have forgotten they or their parents were immigrants themselves. And it always leads to bad shit when you forget where you came from. And dumber still, if you actually did any kind of research, you'd know that the immigrants are already here. With a projected increase so high that by 2055, white folks may be 48% of the United States. The wall ain't stopping that. It's too late for it. I wonder if down the line, faced with a dwindling population, will white America attempt ethnic cleansing? History rhymes at times, and it concerns me. Make America great again. As in when? That's my question as a black man. As in when? When American Nazis come out of the woodwork, us blacks and Jews pay attention. You can't trick two groups of people who have racial genocide in their past. Blacks and Jews know genocide starts with racism and fear. Those are facts. Why is it all about race? How is the MAGA slogan racist? Yes, that is a pretty dumb question to ask a black man. It's just about as dumb as those who think there's no such thing as racism anymore. It's quote unquote something the liberal media keeps pushing in order to divide the country. So, let me get this right. And obviously, if you're pointing fingers at liberals, then you're a conservative. Believe me when I tell you, I don't care about politics. I'm only involved because the concept and ideas are inescapable. But anyway, as a conservative, you can flat out believe that there is a full-fledged liberal media agenda that brainwashes the people of the United States into being hateful to one another. This same media-powered liberal brainwashing device also pushes for gay marriage and transgender rights. It also brainwashed Colin Kaepernick to take a knee, forfeiting all of his future NFL earnings, and brainwashed black people into mobilizing and starting a Black Lives Matter movement. The liberal media is also responsible for the killing of unarmed blacks by cops. As a conservative, you are telling me that this is all true, that I am being brainwashed. That's real deep shit you're laying on me. I can believe in brainwashing. There's scientific evidence about the power of influence over other people. There's facts there. There is also scientific evidence and facts and history that show that racism exists as well. So then how come you, as a conservative, have a hard time believing in systemic racism and the proven existence of racism at large? All of the pictures I put up weren't enough. The KKK aren't really bad guys, maybe. The cops who kill unarmed blacks kill people with criminal records, so really, it wasn't a loss. Why is my view so impossible while your brainwashing scenario is so certain? You can believe in brainwashing over the TVs and newspapers, but you can't believe that a formerly segregated country can still have issues with race. If the truth is that we are being brainwashed, then how come you haven't been brainwashed as well? Because you're a superhero? Please. All of this Democrat, Republican, left, right, liberal, conservative. When will people learn to keep their politics to themselves? Every time you go cast your vote, it's done in private. That's a clue and a half for your ass. Keep your politics to yourselves. It's becoming so divisive that it's looking like racism to me. People are spewing hate in regards to political affiliation. All I see are people calling out one another's political affiliation like they're gangbangers. You're a fucking liberal. I'm a conservative, bitch. Libtard. Whatever the fuck that is. They say politics are important, and I agree. Anything that can have such an effect on society is important as hell. If I was an overseer, a master, I would definitely use politics to control my slaves. Most definitely. As you can see, the United States is not united at all. It's got some real fucking problems, folks. Much of it is mental. There are those people who say, look, Life isn't fair for anybody. If you work hard and are willing to make the right connections, then you'll get far. To those people, I would ask, do you know what it means to be a warrior, to defend something? See, when you just lay down and accept that life isn't fair, then you just sit down and take whatever bad shit happens to you. So you accept rape, sexual harassment, bigotry, murder, molestation. To not fight is to accept whatever life brings you. Do you deserve to be robbed or discriminated against? Do you think it's right for people to be treated unfairly while it's clear that others did not have the same struggle as you? If you think it's wrong and you do nothing but accept your fate, then I'm here to tell you you're a potential victim. There are those of us out here who don't want to be victims. We have fight in our hearts. We see the way life is for some, and we want it. We see that society is not fair, and we fight to change it, just like our forefathers did. They are warriors and fighters. There are also peaceful warriors, but there are also those who lay down, who would rather let others fight while they reap the benefits. The benefit to talk shit, or to simply take it up the ass. If you give a shit about the history of this country, then do some reading, and then you'll come to know that America is far better than what it was. And the singular reason for that was due to people who fought for a better reality. Basically, you don't quote unquote see that much racism because brave people fought extremely well and turned it around. Without fight and sacrifice, this society would be much different. We fight in different ways to get rid of the worst of society. Blogging, marching, journalism, activism, but fighters fight. But people that don't fight, they like to think that by electing one person to fight for them, then that's all the fighting they need to do. So if you're a life isn't fair kind of guy, take it up the ass tight with blinders on, do us fighters a favor and stay the fuck out of our way, because it's obvious you ain't built like us. Then there's those black and white who don't believe there's any racism simply because they themselves haven't seen it or been a victim of it. I suppose for people like that, they are looking for the old school in-your-face racism where white folks would outwardly beat or lynch black folks and everybody gather around for a good old time. No, like the older folks tell me, when it comes to racism these days, it's better than what it was. But there's still a ways to go. The racism is sometimes overt, but most times covert. Some people say that the proof that racism is gone is because there's a lot of black people making it, having jobs and making money. They say racism isn't holding blacks back, it's blacks using it as an excuse. Even though I've given irrefutable evidence that there's a racist element in America designed to stop the advance of people of color. Just because a person makes it despite racism or discrimination doesn't make both of those things justifiable human challenges. You know, they used to make gladiators fight tigers. Sometimes the gladiator actually won. Sure, he had chunks of his ass missing, but he lived to fight another day. That doesn't mean that it was right to pit a man against a raging beast in the first place. Anyway, I'll make a deal with those who think it's blacks holding ourselves back. Let me know the exact day that all schools in America are identical. No good and bad schools, just American schools, where if one school has a chess club, then so does the next. Also make sure that each school includes the updated history of America, meaning that all history books show the updated historical data reflecting the contributions that people of color, namely black people, made in establishing this country. After all, Black Lives Matter, not just today, but they have always mattered in establishing this America. The Indians were first, and there were bloody wars between them and American settlers who eventually defeated them and took their land. Human beings war. That's just what they do. But let's no longer omit or whitewash the history books. Speak about the once hidden figures in American history. These blacks and mulattoes who were not included in most American history because these were times where black people were considered beasts of burden, beasts to be used and abused, raped or made to fight wars for a country that didn't give a shit about them. They were on the front lines because their lives were expendable. They were unwilling kamikaze soldiers, well before the Japanese were associated with that term. Let me know when every neighborhood has the same structure, meaning that every neighborhood has the same opportunities for our children to grow mentally and physically. No more good or bad neighborhoods, just neighborhoods. This way there's no black neighborhoods. There's only mixed. No such thing as the term white flight, where white people run out of a neighborhood to go for better suburbia. No such thing as gentrification. No, we would all be neighbors and not strangers to one another. Let me know the day when white people don't think twice about their sons or daughters being friends with a black kid. You know, because in reality, we're seen as a lot of trouble. Bottom line is, let me know of the day when we are all finally judged for who we are versus what we look like. Universally, that's when I'll know that racism no longer exists. I hope I'm alive for that kind of society, but I doubt I will be. We all have a lot more therapy and talking ahead of us. Like I said, 70 odd years ago, this country was segregated. Whites only. We don't serve colored folks. You know, that kind of hate and ignorance obviously takes more than one lifetime to get through. But if it makes any racists out there feel a little better, according to Liam Neeson, you can try power walking your racism away. Lastly, I want to send a shout out to the Hodge twins. And it ain't the typical kind of shout out where it's like, hey, what's up, y'all? Because at the end of the day, they may not see this video. But the bottom line of the situation is simply this. Any black people that are proud to call themselves coons, that shit hurts. We black people somehow or another let these brothers down because they ain't coons. I can see what they're doing. I can see exactly what they're doing. But the thing is, the fact that their political affiliation is conservative, there was no reason for black America to attack them. And so now they say they're coons with pride. I know they don't believe that they're coons. This political shit is divisive, and it's as divisive as dark skin versus light skin, which I'm sure that they went through as light-skinned brothers. So with that being said, I do hope one day that the Hodge twins actually see this video, because I really do like those brothers. I think they are hilarious, but I don't want to see any black person call themselves anything derogatory and laugh about it, because there's already too many people laughing at us. They're laughing at us because of exaggerated articles, alternate facts, stereotypes, and there's nothing funny about that. Not a damn thing.